You're. What's going on, YouTube? It's been a minute. It's been about a week, so it ain't been that long. What's going on, y'all?
Hey, birdie.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much out here.
I feel you. I feel you. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. Thank y'all for those who are joining us now. We're about to get started.
Yeah.
Introductions. It's Brody the One, aka Blackmail Media, the pro antagonist, part of the Out Here podcast. Out here.
And it's your girl, Goddess Honey Cocoa B, and the B stands for beige because I'm never light skinned. Part of the Out Here podcast.
That's what's up. We got a lot to talk about today. I'm glad that y'all in the building. Honey, I had like this interesting topic to talk about that I saw actually the other day, and I thought it was real crazy because I really admire this young lady for her story that she told. I think she's beautiful. I think she dope. She's been on a lot of podcasts like the Brilliant Idiots. I believe she was on the Breakfast Club. Um, Not was it the Breakfast Club? That's what it's called, right? The Jerome Charlemagne, the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that's close.
Yeah. So and I believe she was on the Joe Rogan podcast as well. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, it's in the title of the video. Her name is, I believe I pronounced this correctly, is Eomni Park.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen her on the Joe Buttons podcast too. I mean, the
Yeah,
Joe Buttons. The
Brilliant
what you just
Idiots
said.
or
The
Breakfast
dude.
Club.
No, the other one.
Brilliant Idiots.
No, the other one.
Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw her on there. Seen her on the Brilliant Idiots. She seems like a nice young lady. She had a great story. If you guys don't know the story, apparently she grew up in North Korea where it's very, very strict. A lot of rules. Um, Kim Jong Un, I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly or close to correctly. He's a dictator over there. He allegedly unalived his own brother in order to take over power. So he's a very ruthless dictator. And people have been unable to leave the country for quite some time. So that's why her story is so miraculous that she was actually able to escape to the US. Now, it's recently been surfacing that those stories are actually not true, that
Mhm.
she actually never escaped from North Korea. And I'm going to pull up a video, a couple of reactions to that, because obviously people had a lot to say about it. But what do you think about that, honey? What do you think if it's true that she actually never escaped from Korea?
Well, I've heard the rumors that they talk about that she technically came from like a wealthy family. I heard those rumors before. They said she was lying. I've heard it. It's sad that people would do that, but at the same time, for me personally, I think that even if she did lie, she brought awareness of a problem that's been going on and no one's really been talking about.
I agree with that. Um, I think what we talk about a lot on this podcast is we really press this point is the monetization of being a victim.
Mhm. Mhm.
And in this particular case, I don't know exactly the parameters of how wealthy families live in North Korea. I didn't even know it was a such thing as a wealthy family in North Korea. I believe they were like kind of communists.
Mhm.
But so in my opinion, she still dealt with suffering from living in North Korea, regardless
Yeah.
uh, whether it was as bad as she's claiming. But it does go into the detriment of monetizing being a victim.
Mm.
She's only been able to achieve what she's been able to achieve in the US as far as her popularity. I don't know if she got like a college degree or a job or career, but as far as getting on the Joe Rogan podcast, the Brilliant Idiots, and things of that nature, it's because she claimed to be a victim and she's an attractive young lady, right? I would say those are probably the two reasons. And
Yeah.
we shun people for that, like being able to get on for your sexuality and getting on for being a victim. So where do you think she falls into that? I get what you're saying. She brought awareness to all the people in North Korea and how they're living, and but do you think that that's more detriment, or do you think that she's more helping?
I think she's more helping, but I do think that's still a key factor. You're saying because it is you say it is a way to monetize uh supposed traumas from your past. You're saying or get a large following from people who could say either sympathize with you or say they went through the same thing. So I feel like she definitely has made money off of telling these stories. What you call it? So I do think that plays a part. But at the same time, I do agree with you as far as she obviously had to go through some things. That country is, you know,
Just
wrecked
wow.
with like just crazy. I remember hearing a thing. I think it was her who said it one time. She was like, "Oh, in the country, we're taught like 2 plus 1 equals a certain number is
This
wrong."
bigger one.
But yeah, but you can't say it's not because guess what? Because he said it is, and that's it. Nothing else he said. And anything you believe or don't believe is straight out the door. They find you with a Bible. They're killing you. All these things is happening in there. So I do see how it does bring awareness, but I know that in that awareness is also the hopes of getting rich and famous off of being a victim.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, all right. So, with your point, and I think this is interesting because we brought this up on the last podcast that we had on YouTube. Two completely different scenarios, but could we not say the same thing about Cassie that even though she didn't do what she was supposed to do for the young ladies, not supposed to do, I won't say that because people are going to give me backlash for that, but what she could have done bringing awareness to the other ladies, can't we say that her opening that up has been able to bring awareness to something that's going on? And we're going to give her the same credit for bringing awareness to a lie?
No.
Why not? What's the difference?
The difference is that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for this, but Cassie was pretty much a high paid prostitute.
Thanks.
You're saying so she stayed in that relationship, for almost 10 years, if not more than 10 years, willing to do the things that Diddy asked if what was said about him allegedly is true. She's willing to do all those things until she left him and realized the money's not gonna be the same. You know what I'm saying? So that was for me that's different. Uh this girl came over, she I don't think she was paid to be um someone born in Korea. You know saying like all the stuff that happened to her, it was not besides her coming to the United States and trying to be awareness and bring her story, she wasn't paid to do that. She was born into that circumstance versus Cassie actually went willingly into these circumstances.
I agree with that. But what do you put in? So do you put anything as far as the young factor? Because I know a lot of times we discuss this, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
Even anybody under 27 is basically a kid because their mind hasn't fully developed.
Hmm.
So where do we give, if any, do we give her a break for her being? Now we understand she's of age now, but for her being 18 and molded in that situation per se,
Like
do we give
for
her any of
me,
that grace for Cassie?
I would have given her grace. You know what I'm saying? Like, see, I have a very funny stance on the whole, domestic violence, abuse, and all stuff like that. But you call it. I feel like at some point we stop holding women accountable for the actions that like they take to stay inside that relationship. Because I personally feel like we spoke about before, like you said, mental health issues show in different ways, especially differently between men and women.
Mhm.
So, what you call it, I feel like if she went with Diddy and stayed with him for a couple of years and then she left, and that was it. But when she was over the age that we all consider to be adult, she still went back to that man and stayed with that man.
That's true. But do we account? And I know these are buzzwords that are used a lot in cliches, but they still do exist. What about things like Stockholm syndrome? Do we account any of that to that? Because I agree with you. If we break it down to the minerals, I agree that a lot of that was her choice at the end of the day.
Mhm.
But do we account for any of that? Let's say a young child gets molested. Now they like whatever the molester did to them sexually going into adulthood.
Yeah.
That's their fetish now. So do we kind of account for that? Like, all right, she was young, impressionable. He got her into, he possibly or allegedly got her into drugs such as X, and that may have led to her behavior and may continue to lead to her behavior into perpetuity.
For me, I don't know. I just for me, I'm speaking like how I look at it is like if somebody said that they were harmed by anybody and they go forward for justice and which call it, I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying, but to me, in my eyes, the way this case was set up, it wasn't for justice. It wasn't for people to be aware of. It was a money grab in my eyes. It's my opinion. Now everybody's opinions is gonna what you call it because I don't want nobody jumping in my throat later on or bring this back up years later. My personal opinion is that this particular case right here was a money grab, and all the cases that are popping up when the end of the when the statute for that particular law was over, a lot of the cases that are popping up. I'm not saying that all of them are false, but a lot of them are just for money. It's a money grab.
So, what do you think about this young lady? What do you think is going to happen to her? Do you think that she's going to get canceled, or do you think people are going to continue to support her?
Say she better have plausible deniability. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only way I can see that happening because like people also come at people for pretending to be something that they're not, especially in that light. I'm pretty sure she's probably part of a nonprofit and has been getting donations and money and funds. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like she's gonna lose a large quantity of her people that was supporting her, but I don't think she's gonna be all the way gone.
But to me, her only talent was being a victim and not to come at the young lady. But I don't know her for anything else but those stories that she supposedly made up, right?
Yeah.
So if people aren't listening to those, then where does she go from here? And did she not expect anybody to ever point out that she was telling lies?
I guess where she goes from here is just saying that I was trying to bring awareness to the situation. Da 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 da. Da. You see, because people are still gonna listen to that because that's still kind of a sob story within itself. Like I felt like the only way y'all was gonna pay attention is by me saying that I'm the one who went through it, even if I wasn't the one that went through it because y'all was not talking about it. I guess if she uses that as an excuse, some people are still gonna fall for it. So some people are still gonna support it in that aspect.
I get that. So do you think that people should support her regardless?
Um. Uh. Well, it turns out if it turns out that she did lie, what you call it, and it's proven that she did lie. I don't personally feel that because I don't like liars. And honestly speaking to me, I don't like liars, so I wouldn't support. I don't know about everybody else, but I want to support somebody that lied, multiple times or multiple people's faces, is saying like over and over and over again. That for me, that would be a deal breaker for me personally.
I agree with that. So if I was to give my opinion real brief, I would think that wow, it's crazy to me that she actually isn't telling the truth. I never really put two and two together. I'm not sure of the average last name of a person in Korea, but I don't know why I always thought that all the names was like Kim Jong Un's choosing or something like that. Maybe I'm completely false. Y'all could correct me in the comments and say I'm ignorant for not knowing exactly. But I had this impression that he had something to do with the names of people. I know
Mhm.
I don't know, but I think like all their birthday is the same day or some shit like that. Um, so for her last name to be Parks, I didn't know that before this, and I'm not sure if that has anything to do with like revealing that she may be telling a falsehood. Maybe she was from nobility or a high status family there. Maybe she was able to move to the U.S. as a child and change her last name very, very young. Or maybe her family did it generations ago.
Mhm.
Maybe they're second generation, third generation. I'm not exactly sure of the truth, but I do think it's absolutely corny that she lied about it. I
Yeah.
think that she was able to make a massive success out of it, but I think that she also could have made herself successful just off her look and little accent and all that. She could have been on Twitch and telling the truth about her life and still been successful. Probably not as quickly as she was by lying, if that is the case. I'm not sure. Again, if
Yeah.
that is the case, we're all going to find out. But I think she could have went a different avenue with her look and people already just liking her personality.
Uh, I don't know. I feel like you're saying like in our society, especially in the United States, like people prefer the sob falsehood than the actual not so sad truth. You're saying you'll see that even with the little contests we normally have, The Voice, the American
Mhm.
Idol. You have somebody coming in with pure talent, but their story is not sad enough. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So um I don't know if she would have gotten to anywhere close to that if she was just somebody speaking on behalf of Korea.
Well, I don't know if that's even her purpose because she lied. So if that is her purpose, I give you that. But I'm more so thinking she was just trying to get famous. So if her goal was just to get famous, it's NPCs on Twitch and TikTok that got famous. I don't think that she. I think
Yeah.
she could have been pretty much.
She's pretty and her accent is nice, but there's a bazillion people. that's pretty and have great
That's
accents
true.
and are trying to make it out and they ain't making it nowhere. So
But also, and I'll say this, along with her sob story, her looks went along with it because if she was ugly and had this sob story, I don't think she would be where she was at either. And I'm not saying she's a 10 or all the way up here.
yeah,
I'm just saying her looks still attributed to her fame to a degree.
I've seen. Yeah, I definitely agree because I've seen uh burn victims from other countries where especially in like Middle Eastern countries where they would like throw acid at a
Mhm.
woman's face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I've seen them come here and tell the stories of what's going on, the horrors and all that shit like that, and nothing happened.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Nobody supports them.
Nobody supports them. And I've also seen beautiful girls that have come from like places like the Congo, and they talk about the stuff that's happened to them, the sexual assault, all these things, right? Sorry, the essays, all that stuff, and no one has paid them any mind. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, to a degree, it's the victimhood, probably 90-10 victimhood to her looks. I just think that if she was boring and didn't have any personality, she'd have died out a long time ago and nobody would even ever made this hit piece. So she must have something that people resonate with besides the story. Like people like her personality. Even when Joe Rogan and Brilliant Idiots had her on, she was
Mhm.
real cool with the jokes. She didn't let stuff get to her. She was funny. I think she had a bit of a personality that she might have been like a assistant on one of their shows or a reoccurring
Yeah.
guest or but I could have seen her getting on some type of way.
Mhm. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't guarantee that, but what
Because
I
I
do
don't think
know,
because she got so much newsworthy coverage, which is why she was on those shows.
true,
Without that newsworthy coverage, she would never been on those shows because they would never even know who she was.
that's true. Yeah, would have definitely if she would have got on, and I'm not saying she would have, but if she would have got on, it definitely would have took a bunch more work. She wouldn't have did it so quickly. I'll give you that.
Yes,
But
Paul.
since I want some information on what's going on with her, I hope this video fully downloaded. It looks like it might not have. Let me make sure it did. Hopefully this plays. But this is somebody's information that they gathered on the subject and
Okay.
the explanation of whether she's lying or not. They're saying that she's hurting other victims and escapees from the country, other people that migrated from there. So I'm gonna
How
see.
how is she hurting them?
I don't know. So I'm gonna see how he's saying or she's saying. I'm not sure who's actually in the video, but we're gonna see how they're saying there and whether
Okay.
we agree or not.
It downloaded all the way.
Yeah, it should have.
The North
We
Korean
definitely got to talk
defector that's
about
been
what you call it
heralded
too.
as a
My
hero.
bad. Say it again.
So at some point we also got to talk about the verdict.
Oh yeah. For y'all that's in the building, stay tuned to the end of the video. We are going to discuss the verdict of Jonathan Majors. What we think about that, I'll pull up a video for that as well, so
And
people
we
can
need to
understand
talk
a little
about
bit.
why Tory Lanez, free my nigga Tory. Uh
With the information that came from the bodyguard, we'll discuss that as well.
and I got another thing. So when we get there, I'm gonna talk about it.
All right. We got a bunch for y'all today, so definitely stay tuned. Write in the comments what y'all think, and we would appreciate if somebody would timestamp for some of this for us. So if y'all could timestamp it for us, and y'all want to be an admin on our page, we definitely would love for y'all to be a moderator on our page.
But now appears to be getting exposed for lies. And America's dirty little secrets from the Baghdadi strike are starting to get exposed. There's a lot to talk about with those two, so buckle up, you beautiful bastards. Hit that like button and let's just jump into it. Starting with, we need to talk about Yeonmi Park. Because for those of you who do not know, she's a YouTuber and author who has risen to prominence as a human rights celebrity by sharing her story as a North Korean defector, with the Washington Post even describing her as one of the most famous North Korea defectors in the world. And she is a very big deal, right? She has more than 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Her 2015 memoir, In Order to Live, has sold over 100,000 copies. And her new book, While Time Remains, published this last February, has already made tens of thousands of sales. But also, more recently, Park has taken on this new role of conservative commentator. Because in the past few years, Park has taken aim at the US, comparing American liberalism and woke culture to the dictatorship in North Korea, and claiming that America is on the path to tyranny, with her largely drawing from her time as an undergrad at Columbia and branding herself as the enemy of the woke. And so, of course, with branding like that, right-wing personalities have absolutely eaten that up, with Park becoming a multi-platform right-wing media star and appearing on some of the most popular right-leaning podcasts. But also, Park's rise on the right comes as she...
I'm gonna comment real quickly. I
Mhm.
actually never heard her speak on anything as far as politics goes
Yeah.
in America. And I think that she made incredibly intelligent, maybe not for her career as we see it now, but money wise, an incredible incredibly intelligent transition to politics, like she knew that they was going to back her regardless and all that. She made a smart move, I think.
Mm-hmm.
She's been hounded for years with accusations from journalists, experts, and even other North Korean defectors that many of her stories just don't add up, with some of her tales ranging from just being inconsistent to just explicitly contradictory. And while those allegations have been floating around for years, there's been renewed scrutiny as she's become so popular. And just this month, the Washington Post published an explosive investigation that also found many inconsistencies with her claims. Right with that article, starting at the beginning of Park's rise to fame as a teenage panelist on the hit South Korean show Now on My Way to Meet You, a docuseries about reunifying families that have been separated during the Korean War, and that being where Park first began sharing her history, saying she was born in a city that bordered China in
We need y'all to like and
1993, and that
subscribe.
her father was a member of the ruling Workers' Party of Korea who was sentenced to prison for smuggling metals on the black market to support their family, with her eventually able to escape in 2007 when she was 13 years old, fleeing first to China and then making her way to South Korea. So definitely an intense and harrowing story, and there's no doubt about that. But it's the claims that she makes about just how bad North Korea is and how awful her life was there that have raised eyebrows. Because as the Post explains, while most of Park's Now on My Way to Meet You co-stars recounted stories of deprivation, she was dubbed Paris Hilton because of the tales she told of her family's relative wealth in North Korea, a lifestyle accessorized with imported Japanese fashion and Chanel bags. And then, in 2014, she gained much broader international attention for a speech she gave at the One Young World Summit in Ireland that went viral and attracted over 80 million views. And that is when everything began to change, with the Post writing, experts on North Korea took note of the strikingly different bio that emerged when Park moved from reality TV to the International Human Rights Conference circuit. Right, her Paris Hilton character was nowhere in that story. But it's also echoed by a Korean studies professor who told the Post she once presented herself as the top 1% North Korea elite, so she didn't see any hunger or malnutrition when she was living there, but then saying she totally flipped the narrative when she was on to these conferences. And at the same time, you had another expert who spoke to the Post noting the Park's shift in the narrative didn't even match the stories of her own family, with her mother describing access to not only food but other luxuries during an appearance on Now on My Way to Meet You, with Park's mother even saying that her daughter, Yeonmi, couldn't even wrap her head around the fact that some of the less privileged people on the show even came from the same country she did. Now, Park, for her part, addressed this shift in her memoir by saying that she just didn't want to talk about hardships she went through during her childhood on South Korean TV because she no longer even thought about it. She also has previously claimed that some discrepancies in her early interviews in America can be chalked up to the fact that she wasn't fluent in English. But a lot of people say, even with that, there are a lot of things that just don't add up. With the Post,
see that right there, you're saying that right there. That's when it becomes like you playing a character. You're saying, her, Charleston White, a lot of these people, they on their rise to do something better, supposedly, they become characters that are just kind of like disgusting in itself. Like, if this is all true, where you were a part of that wealthy family, and then as soon as it came down to you talking about what the hardships, taking someone else's story and making it your own is just disrespectful. I'm just gonna put it out there. But that was it.
So last thing on that, do you agree that it may be detrimental to the other escapees that she's the one getting all this notoriety and fame and book sales when she actually went through none of this?
Yeah. Now, I don't think it's detrimental to them because they was not gonna get that money anyway. So I'm just gonna put it out there. They was not gonna get it. The reason why she got it is because of the imagery she possessed. They was not gonna send it to any other person. You know what I'm saying? That was it. So I don't think she's taking money out their pockets. But if she sat here and made all that money and has not done anything to help establish some type of system for those who do make it to the United States, or helping a type of organization that's trying to help people that's still in South Korea. If she if North Korea, shit, bro, you could have corrected.
I didn't mean to throw you off. I just didn't want niggas attacking us because South Korea and North Korea different.
Okay, yeah, definitely true. Right, so I remember the reason why I said this because I remember he was talking. He said something about South Korea. That's why I'm saying South Korea. But yeah, and North Korea, they was not. If she didn't help any organization that's helping people in North Korea or doing anything in that aspect, and she got all that money and fame when she came in, then she definitely deserves to have every piece of support she had taken away. Now, if she used this opportunity, still was able to make herself a nice but a majority of the earnings that she made was going towards the people whose stories are actually that, you're saying she definitely needs to be all the way done. That's why she was so adamant against cancel culture, because she figured sooner or later they're gonna catch on to me and they're gonna try to cancel me too.
Well, she's intelligent, I think, again, because she's going to the right wing. And regardless to what she actually did or said on the right wing, as long as she agrees with what they say, and I'm not judging the right wing because Democrats are this way as well. Got a lot of people they do scrutinize against, but as long as you believe in their ideals and support the wokeism, you pretty much protect it. And I believe that even though she has or may have fibbed a bit in her story, or maybe the whole entire thing, she will definitely be supported by the right side, the right wing.
They're not giving that lady. They're not
Conservatives.
giving nobody. She, like you said, she did the right. She did the
She made the
positive
right move.
move. As I'm saying right now, that's why y'all should be demanding that the system just fall all the way down, because it should make no sense that we have laws that could be beneficial to us or a hindrance to us, but they'll either pass or be knocked down based off of who presented that law. So that means they're not even creating laws or dismissing laws for the sake of us. They're doing it for their party. Dismantle both those parties. You see, it don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely don't believe that anybody should just believe in anybody's opinion about things that are so important. What you call it? They should believe everything they say 100%. I don't think that you do that, whether you Democrat, Republican, or anybody else. But she deserves to lose everybody. I mean, no, she's not. She deserves to lose everybody though.
Yeah, she deserves the scrutiny that she may receive for this.
Post again, for example, pointing to a 2014 article published by The Diplomat by Mary Ann Jolly, a journalist who had interviewed Park for a documentary and who pointed out numerous discrepancies with her claims. Right, according to Jolly, while Park told The Diplomat that both her and her sister were left to protect themselves at 9 and 11 years old when their parents were jailed, saying we couldn't go to school, we just go down to the riverside and we can shower and wash our clothes there, and then we go to the mountains and get the grass
Make
to
sure
eat,
y'all
adding I should
comment
eat
for the
wild
algo.
foods like grass or sometimes dragonflies, just anything I could eat at that time. But on a previous interview with BBC Radio, she had said that when her parents were imprisoned, her sister lived at her uncle's house, while Park herself was sent to live at her aunt's house in the countryside for 3 years. And when asked about the hardship she experienced during another interview around the same time, she made zero mention of grass and dragonflies, instead saying she could afford 2 meals, but also comparing that to people who lived on the streets and, quote, eat everything, and even going as far as to assert that her hardships were nothing comparatively. And that also seemingly backed up by her mom during her On My Way to Meet You appearance. And another key thing there, the host of the show even noting that when people talked about struggling to eat or eating grass, Park would say, oh, that never happened, and asked her mother why that was, to which she responded, we were not to that extent. We were just never in a position where we were starving. Park has also made numerous claims about executions in North Korea that have been questioned and even directly refuted. Or she previously said she saw her friend.
Like, if you gonna lie, make sure you keep your lies together. That shit is stupid. If you're gonna play a character, know your script. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. You say like like why you don't never go back and read or watch your interviews to make sure your facts align. You would just go on whatever you go. Like, let's see how long these dummies eat this shit up. Like what are you?
Yeah, it kind of pisses you off to hear like somebody just don't even care about what they lie about and you still make millions of dollars. I guess that also goes on the American people. And I haven't done enough research to know if she was lying or not, but I also have never supported her. That may be a bad or a good thing. Y'all can look at it how y'all want to, but the people that did support her didn't do enough research, and now she's made, if not millions of dollars, off of what seems to be a lie. Feel sorry for those folks.
Mother executed in a stadium for watching a Hollywood movie. Sometimes when she told the story, she said it was a South Korean DVD, not a Hollywood movie. But also beyond that discrepancy, other defectors even told The Diplomat that not only were there never executions in the stadium that she was talking about, there weren't even any executions happening in the city that she lived in during that time period she described. With one woman who defected from the same city as Park a few years after telling The Diplomat, how can you be executed for watching an American film? It sounds ridiculous even saying it. That has never happened before. Other defectors also confirming that, as did Andrei Lenkov, who is one of the leading authorities on North Korea having.
I'm gonna pause that right here because I remember that somebody was saying that people, I believe it was they were watching the Squid Games or something in North Korea and being executed for that. I may be wrong on what show that is, but I do believe that I did remember hearing that specifically somebody was watching Squid Games or something that was illegal to watch in North Korea and they were executed. Now, obviously, it seems that that's a lie because people in the city are saying that didn't really happen. But did you ever hear that, honey?
I've heard that before. I've heard that whatever they decide is contraband is contraband. If you caught with it, you can get executed. And then on top of that, it didn't just fall just to you. I also heard that it went from like if your parents was picked up, they pick up the whole family. You know what I'm saying? That whole families are in prisons from what you call. As a matter of fact, here we go again. I think that I heard that information from her. I think it was her interview that I remember hearing her say that. So now I don't even know.
Now we don't even know. Maybe North Korea not as bad as they say it is. I saw that movie. Last thing before I move on, y'all see that movie? I think it had the dude from Superbad,
Yeah.
not Jonah Hill,
Yeah, I need to.
the other guy, and then both the niggas from
The
Pineapple
interview.
Express. Yeah, the interview, right? And they made South Korea look like North Korea. See, I fucked up too. North Korea, all the food was like fake and shit like that. It made it look real bad. And that's part of propaganda. We think the movie is funny, and it is, but it's like the propaganda. You would think that shit is kind of real.
Yeah.
So that shit's crazy.
Studied there in the 80s, taken multiple research trips, and interviewed hundreds of defectors. And while both he and the other defectors said that people could go to jail for watching Western movies, they wouldn't be executed. Blenkov telling the outlet that the kinds of crimes that usually result in public executions are murder, large-scale theft, especially of the government property, sometimes involvement with large-scale smuggling operations, including human trafficking. And that's also not Park's only account of executions that Blenkov has disputed. Right, as recently as 2021, she went on Joe Rogan's podcast where she made more claims about public executions.
And what are the crimes that you could be sentenced to death for?
Is as little as, so in North Korea, every room has to have a portrait of Kims. And the inspector comes out of nowhere in the middle of the night and then touch the portraits. If they see any dust, they say your royalty is not high enough.
I remember this.
And then you can get executed and sent to prison camp, 3 generations of your family.
Blenkov told the Post that this is a distortion of something that happens in North Korea, where citizens are forced to have self-criticism sessions where they confess failings. And sometimes, due to pressure, they resort to sharing minor offenses that will let them off with minor punishments, like not properly maintaining their shrine to the Kims. But he said Park is seriously exaggerating, and her description would be the equivalent of telling North Koreans that Americans can be executed for a speeding ticket. And there are also other smaller claims too, like Park's repeated claims that North Koreans don't have maps of the world and that they don't have to learn simple math like 1 + 1 = 2. Blenkov noting that pictures of elementary school textbooks prove that's just not true. And Park's seemingly false stories have now gone beyond just North Korea and veered into hot-button issues in America.
Like the video,
For example,
y'all.
during her interview with Rogan, Park claimed that she got punched and robbed by 3 black women during the George Floyd protests in 2020 when she was in Chicago.
I was trying to catch and call the police, and these people on the street, the bystanders, the white people, calling me I'm a racist, telling me that the color of skin doesn't make them a thief. And I became...
Wait a minute. So you got robbed by these 3 black women.
And I got punched.
You got punched and
It's a
robbed.
violence, yeah.
And so you called the police. And
I tried to call them, and they prevent me not calling the police.
Who was trying to tell you not to call the police?
It's all the people on the street,
That
on the
watched
Michigan
it?
Avenue. Yeah.
People that saw the crime?
Yeah.
With her going on to say the police later got footage of the 3 black women because they used her credit card, and adding,
Of course, they are not going to prosecute these girls, right? There's so much crime in Chicago. They are not going to prosecute somebody who robs. And that's when I was thinking, this country lost it.
But according to a Chicago police statement obtained by the Daily Mail, Park wasn't robbed by 3 women, but rather a woman and a man, which is arguably a weird thing to change. And also the female suspect was prosecuted, being charged with the crime, pleading guilty, and serving 2 years in prison, with even Park herself acknowledging that the female robber was prosecuted in her most recent book. And I understand everything that we're talking about, I don't even want to call it a greatest hits or a highlight reel. These are just some of the things in a much bigger situation. And so if you want to dive deeper, I'll link to articles down below. But you have this all-around bizarre situation, and you have people going, well, why do this? But well, there, the answer would be like it is for most stories, clout and or money. There's a lot of direct and indirect money to be made with engagements and ongoing work with right-wing groups. Obviously, as her star rises and she goes on these shows and they're clipped and more people find out about her, more people are more inclined to, buy her book and things like that. But also you get examples like direct payments, where they're telling reporters she made $6,600 a month working with conservative group Turning Points USA, and that was just one engagement. There's also a thing that I want to mention. I do not want anything in this to seem like I am pro-North Korea. Fuck the Kims, those murderous monsters. But my feelings need to be based in reality. And that's also where you have experts saying that spreading false or exaggerated claims about North Korea not only undermines the real stories of other defectors, but it also hurts the actual people who live there under the regime because it overshadows actual concerns about human rights in the country. With another expert saying she basically just acts as a mirror for conservative audiences to look into and having all their fears about liberals turning America into an authoritarian hellhole reflected right back at them. And those are actually all points that have been repeatedly made by people like Hassan Piker, a political commentator, who also notably talked about Park a number of times over the last few years, with him continually calling her a grifter, saying that while there is a market in America for North Korean defectors who want to share their real traumatic experiences in an oppressive country, Park takes it to a whole other level.
There are plenty of very real, harrowing realities from North Korea, obviously. So there's truth to it as well. But you get bored after a while of hearing the same shit. So what she does instead that I think is like pretty smart is she'll turn around and basically say like, in America is just like North Korea because of liberals. It literally minimizes the experiences that people living under the brutal regime, the brutal Kim Jong-un regime, this person is literally a grifter. There are a lot of defectors that do this. Props to them. They escaped. And now they want to make money. And there is a massive audience of fucking idiots that are like, hell yeah, brother. In North Korea, you're right, brother. They're just fucking, it's the worst place. They all want to kill us. They all want to murder us, brother. Yeah, yeah. Like, we should glass North Korea. And this is all that this is to just like give people that fuel to feel that way.
But with all that's been said and shared, I now got to pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? And then, switching gears, last week I was telling y'all how HelloFresh quick and easy meals have been a lifesaver countless times for me. But with that, I forgot to tell you how great these quick and easy meals taste. So thank you, HelloFresh, not only for sponsoring today's show, but I guess also for existing. Weekends can get hectic, but you gotta eat. And not only was the mozzarella crusted chicken with blistered tomatoes and potato wedges a hit with all of us, it didn't steal time from our Saturday. Because HelloFresh wants you to have it all, free time, and use code DeFranco50 for 50. The announcement of Baghdadi's death, Trump and his military presented the operation as this flawless, outstanding victory.
He died after running into a dead-end tunnel, whimpering and crying and screaming all the way. He died like a dog.
But subsequent reporting and Pentagon documents obtained by NPR show that the operation probably wasn't as clean as he'd like to admit. Or while the president watched the raid unfold from thousands of miles away, a Syrian man by the name of Barakat Ahmad Barakat was enjoying what he thought was a normal night. With him telling NPR he and two of his friends were working as agricultural laborers at an olive press. They were driving him home. A claim that's also been backed up by a nonprofit that has receipts showing Barakat was transporting olives to an olive press in the days leading up to this one, as well as 7 relatives of the friends who said the two men operated a van service and had no connection to any armed group. And so they happened to take the shortest route to Barakat's village, which leads them through a neighboring village on the way. With him saying, we had pumpkin seeds and brought coffee on the road and were having fun. But they had no idea Baghdadi was hiding in a compound up the road, nor that the U.S. Special Forces were in the middle of a raid on that compound. So when a missile suddenly strikes their van, they're startled. With Barakat saying there was nothing suspicious at all. There was nothing ahead of us on the road. Suddenly I felt something hit us. I didn't know what was going on. I was just trying to escape death. And so they rush out of the van. They begin to flee, but one of the friends falls with his leg filled with shrapnel. Barakat then takes the other wounded friend in his arms. He has this emotional final moment with him recalling, he told me I am dying. I told him, no, just say God's name. And I held him in my lap. And then as he's cradling this man, another airstrike lands, killing both friends. So Barakat runs for cover and he survives, but his right and left hand have been badly injured, with him later getting surgery to remove shrapnel from his left arm and partially amputate his right. But according to one advocacy group, he can no longer afford physical therapy sessions, and his injuries prevent him from working to feed his 5 young children. And him saying, we're farmers. I make less than $1 a day. Now I'm handicapped and my 2 friends are in their graves. Now, after that raid, the U.S. military took responsibility for the attack, but claimed that the men were militants unaffiliated with ISIS in a van that displayed hostile intent. And in 2020, the Pentagon cleared its troops of any wrongdoing and deemed the victims' families ineligible for compensation, saying in its internal report that the American troops exchanged fire with combatants at an intersection and then noticed the van approaching the same spot, then claiming they fired warning shots, but the van just kept coming, so they neutralized it. But then NPR sued the Defense Department for a copy of that report, and once they obtained it, they found the story was a lot more complicated. When U.S. ground troops first spotted the van headed towards them, it was some 1,100 feet away, but then they let it traverse about half that distance without doing anything to ward it off. Then a U.S. aircraft, most likely an attack helicopter, fired warning shots on the road about 50 or 60 feet in front of the vehicle, which means even if the van had been moving just 15 miles an hour, it would have only given them 2 or 3 seconds to react before getting hit by the gunfire, which then is even harder when you remember that all of this happened around midnight and the driver probably didn't know where the gunfire was coming from. And with this, a military official claimed at the time that initial reports were that the van had fired on U.S. helicopters, but in a declassified email the next year, an official said that actually no gunfire had come from the van. Also, according to the report, an aircraft pilot thought they saw more explosions come from the van after the strike, indicating that it contained weapons or explosives. But then the Pentagon found that in retrospect, it couldn't determine what the explosion was. And Barakat claims that they had no weapons. Plus, there was no indication that any investigators went down to the site. And this, even though there appeared to have been some doubt within the DoD itself as to whether the victims were actually militants, with an analyst in the report recommending that officials compile an intel dossier that, quote, further addresses the characterization of the individuals killed and injured as unlawful enemy belligerents. But as of March, the military told NPR there was no record of such a document ever being produced. And despite all this reporting from NPR, the Pentagon dismissed the allegations and questioned the veracity of its sources. But also, it apparently never contacted Barakat or any of the dead men's relatives itself. And so as of right now, it looks like those affected by this tragedy still likely won't get a smidgen of justice, and their suffering's just been overshadowed by the celebration of Baghdadi's downfall. And unfortunately for the U.S. military, this is kind of just par for the course. Right, if you take the time to look, you see
I'm gonna pause this because he talks really, really fast. Shout out to him. I was listening because it was real interesting. It looks like they're talking about the assassination on Saddam Hussein. Not Saddam Hussein. Um,
Hey,
Osama bin Laden. That's what that looks like. Hey, Monty.
Hi,
Yeah,
Cody. Hi, everyone.
hey. It looks like they was talking about the assassination of Osama bin Laden, and it looks like this guy somehow got injured for being in the proximity of the raid or whatever the case may be. I'm not sure. Is that what you got from that, honey, or am I tripping?
Yeah, they was on a route back home. It was 12 o'clock in the morning. It's dark, and they was driving a truck, and then they let them drive all the way down much further than they should have, and then fired warning shots. And they giving them only 1 to 3 seconds to actually try to turn the van around. And the next thing you know, they end up hitting these niggas with missiles. Like, shit crazy. And then they lied about it. Like, I understand the United States doesn't want to see me at fault, but you were at fault and you didn't even try to help the people that you're saying. Like, they could have been like, oh, that's not what happened. We thought it was this, but, sorry for your loss. Here's something. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just was like, fuck them. Just grab him by the pussy. Just grab him by the pussy.
Dirty shit. Amanda, you got any thoughts on that? Did you happen to catch that? I know you say you were watching us on YouTube earlier. Did you happen to catch anything about that? Or any thoughts you may have on anything we just watched?
No, not that I can recall right now. Well, just I'm gonna keep watching, and then I'll let you know. I'll put a comment on there saying, "Oh, I
No
have."
problem at all, Monty. We happy to have you here in general.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So, honey, what I wanted to transition to next was something that you brought up as far as the conviction, Jonathan Majors. If y'all don't know in the comments, and what we need from y'all is for y'all to like the video, comment for us, make sure y'all FTL. That means follow the link so we can grow faster than light. Y'all don't want to see us growing slow out here. You want to be a part of the movement as we're building it. But Jonathan Majors being convicted of, I believe, 2 of the charges of the 4 charges that he was being charged with. And I don't want to misspeak, so I'm gonna let some of the video tell us what those charges he was convicted of and which ones he actually was not convicted of.
Okay.
And also being fired by Disney. It looks like Disney was waiting on the outcome of the court case in order to terminate or decide what they was going to do. What do you think about that, honey? You brought up the topic, so I think it's definitely important to talk about.
I want to watch the video first.
You want to watch the video first?
Mm-hmm.
Pull it up for you right now. Amandi, do you know anything about that? Do you know who Jonathan Majors is? Can you hear me?
She muted.
No worries.
And hello, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips.
And I'm Terry Miranda. We've got some breaking news. The jury in the Jonathan Majors domestic violence trial has found him guilty of 1 count of assault and 1 count of harassment, but acquitted him of another count of assaulting his former girlfriend. This comes after jurors spent 4 or 5 hours deliberating over portions of several days. And this is a case that has gotten a lot of attention. Jonathan Majors, a major rising star, and he met a crisis in this, and the jury has now returned with its verdict.
And there was a lot of talk about this trial impacting his future in the movie business. Rising star within the Marvel movies. Our legal contributor, Brian Buckmeyer, has been following this from the very beginning as well. So I guess let's first of all talk about the charges here. Brian, your first reaction.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of scratching my head just because I'm looking at the different charges, and let me break it down and explain. There are 2 different assaults here. One is intentional assault and one is reckless assault. Based on the number order that they're telling us, my guess, and please someone correct me if I'm wrong, is they're acquitting him of intentional assault, but finding him guilty of reckless assault, meaning that he just did something he should have known better, and it caused the injury of Grace Jabari. Then he's found not guilty of aggravated assault, which is to alarm, annoy, harass, or threaten someone and subject them to physical violence. But he's not guilty of that, but he is guilty of alarming and annoying Grace Jabari. To me, this sounds like we call it a King Solomon decision. They literally just split the baby and said half and half, but some of the convictions and some of the acquittals don't really make sense when you put them all together.
Well, Brian, let me try to make a little sense. I wonder, I don't know the exact fact pattern since I wasn't in the courtroom, but couldn't you say that in the fury of what is a domestic dispute, he was reckless in his handling, in his physical handling of Jabari, and that was the reckless assault. And the harassment is he lost his temper rather than consciously went after her. Does that make sense?
No, because it would make sense for the reckless and then the aggravated harassment, because the aggravated harassment is harassing someone through physical violence. So why find him guilty of assaulting recklessly, but not guilty of harassing someone through physical force? That's the part that I'm thinking someone just kind of said, you know what, we'll find him guilty for two, but not guilty for these two. But it could work. Someone's got to talk to the jury, I guess.
Yeah. Let's talk about the evidence, because there was clearly clashing narrative from both sides. We had video, audio, text, photos. Do we have that video? Okay, this is some of the photos that we had here of the bruises and the cuts. This is the video that I'm talking about. I mean, this was probably one of the most powerful pieces of the evidence that they played in court, Brian.
Absolutely. And I was in court watching some of this video being played to the jury, and I think it was difficult for both the prosecution and the defense to really articulate this video in a way that really moved the jury. And I think ultimately the jury kind of took this case into their own hands. We saw that from the jury notes, saying we want all of the evidence, pretty much video, testimony, 911 calls, and they decided for themselves. For me, is this Jonathan Majors assaulting his then girlfriend, then running away, or is this him trying to stop her from stealing, or I guess re-stealing his cell phone and getting away from her? The juxtaposition of how this was presented to the jury, I think, is what caused the deliberation to take so long.
And there's a state of mind, obviously, that the
pause this real quick. I've seen other videos talking about this subject. And in other videos, and I'm not going to say whether that's true or not because I wasn't there. In other videos, it was said that she got real drunk after the fact, before he was actually arrested for this, and she like fell on the floor. His videotapes of like her like falling after the incident, and because in the video that we just saw, I don't see how these injuries are possible.
Yeah.
The neck injury, I don't know how she would have got that from getting put in the car. The finger broke. I don't really know how that would have occurred from the footage that we just saw. But what I did hear was that she did, fall in her hotel room and then tried to contact Jonathan Majors when she found out he was arrested. And then at that time, she called the police and said she didn't want any charges filed. So I do believe a lot of these charges were picked up by the state. I don't know. What do you think about this, honey? Do you think that these injuries came from that footage? Do you think it came from something that we didn't see in that footage, or?
Them injuries came because somebody's a dumb. Are we allowed to say the B word?
Sure, we deep into the stream by now.
Because somebody is a dumb bitch. This is what happened. Right? It's just the audacity for me that they even sat there and even prosecuted this case, came to that verdict. That's why I don't care when people say, "Oh well, they got convicted already, so why are you upset about it?" Because I remember they saying something about Tory Lanez and everything else. We act like people on the jury have never made bad verdicts. You know what I'm saying? They're not professional people who know the law or know or forensic scientists or whatever. They're not none of these things. You're saying, and you could explain a lot of these things, these bruises on her, and many other ways of what could have possibly happened to her. You know what I'm saying? And I remember they told me, "Oh well, is in the text message he had wrote like, she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the hospital," and he's like, "No, because they're gonna think that what you call it." And she's like, "Oh, I'm selling my ran into a door." You know what I'm saying? They're like, "Oh, obviously, because he was a uses towards her. I'm like, or it could be because he already sees the injuries that's on her, know what they're gonna assume. No, you say and being like, nah, yo, you about to mess my shit up. And but so what she decides to do is, really mess his shit up. Like really go and mess his shit up. I've seen videos of her on the floor in the closet, and he had to call 911 because she was having an anxiety attack because he was leaving her or something like that. It was allegedly, you're saying that it's sickening at this point how they play in our faces. You know what I'm saying? Like it's sickening. Like justice is not fair, justice is not blind. You know what I'm saying? Like there's too many loopholes for shit. There's too many all these things. So how is our justice even fair? If we send some people who are on the jury who don't even want to be there.
Right.
They're gonna give you some. It happened multiple times. People just gave whatever the one person, whatever the most majority had, because they just didn't want to be there no more. You saying like so like this is sickening to me, honestly speaking. Like
I agree with you, CJ. I agree.
and if Disney, if I don't care, I won't support Disney at all. I won't support none of the Marvel thing since they fired him. I promise you.
And it's sad because I was really enjoying him becoming and budding into one of our top black actors. I don't want to separate too much between race, but it's not as many. And I really enjoyed his acting roles in every single thing that I watched him do, actually. And I don't mean to ride D or whatever y'all want to put it as, but I really enjoy everything he was in. Lovecraft Country, I think Fire. His role as Kang, short lived.
Great.
Fire. I mean, he was just great in everything he played in. And as far as Disney, they know this will be detrimental not only to, just their reputation as far as having somebody have these charges under them again, because they got multiple people with these type of charges and worse, but also with terminating him, they have to terminate their Kang storyline. And I don't know how they're even going to do it.
They said they still pushing forward with the movie.
Yeah, which means that they're going to have to replace him as a character as a whole with somebody else. And I hear it may be Will Smith. And just terrible decisions all around. If I was them, and I know I'm not them, I would have stood by this nigga and put him in the next movie. Like one.
I'm sorry. I'm not supporting yo. That little 17-year-old white boy and his parent drove him across state lines with an assault weapon, and he killed people, and they found him not guilty. And then the whole right wing was offering to do internships and all that shit.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? This man who you clearly see pushes somebody in the car so they could speed off and ran blocks, and Shorty chased him. From what I heard, you know what I'm saying, it may not be true, but what I remember hearing, that the Uber driver even testified that she was the one doing all the hitting allegedly.
Yeah.
So you had that testimony there. You have video of him trying to get away from her. And I was like, nah, it's cool. Fuck him.
I don't support it. And not to mention, I know this has nothing to do with the case at all, but to throw insult to injury, she also allegedly stole $6,000 from his credit cards. She spent $6,000 on his credit cards on her way out. So you ruined his career, probably robbed this man of tens of millions, if not potentially hundreds of millions with his potential. Great in Creed 3. I didn't even mention that. Now he has no career to go back to, no $100 million box office movies to go back to. And he also was robbed of probably like some of his last $6,000.
And for me, it's like people that's in positions of power and blah blah blah. If y'all don't go out there and try to support this man, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, because y'all know that verdict was all the way wrong. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know that. And you saying, I definitely agree with you, Brody, that Disney should have stuck beside them, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this don't even, it don't even make sense. It's so many things that don't make sense. And I hate people like, yo, that's why it was grinding my gears. You know what I'm saying? When people was arguing about the whole Tory Lanez and Megan thing, because I mean, people like, well, he was already convicted because obviously that means he's guilty. I'm like, how many cases have the verdict been crazy? Look at Breonna Taylor. It was more justice for the war than it was for her, based off a verdict. You were saying like,
Look
freaking,
at the exonerated 5. All of them went to jail, and they was trying to actually save that lady.
you're saying that happened. You're saying the youngest a black child to be executed in the United States. He went to trial, and I think it was like within a few like minutes or so, they already was like, oh, he guilty, and they executed that little boy.
There's
You
pictures.
see,
Everybody
verdicts
got
be
witnesses.
wrong all the time. Because
Mhm.
a lot of times, because like I said, justice is not blind. A lot of times, the jury and all these other people, they go with what uh, public opinion is. You're saying like, and what you call it, like this is just, it's sickening, yo. Anything he go through, you saying, I definitely, like, I don't be out there watching movies, but whatever movie, whoever can actually stick beside this man, I would definitely support that shit. You know what I'm saying? I buy the ticket. I'll
Absolutely.
pay for the movie to come through, like, because that's sickening. She's sickening. She's a sick individual. You know what I'm saying? And I bet she's gonna try to come out there for some bread next. She's sick. Like that. Ugh.
It's real nasty. I don't appreciate it. I'm sad to see him go. We'll never get to see what he could have been. And I'm not saying he'll never get a role again. He may have somebody support him. Tyler Perry and all them, shout out to them. Make sure y'all support him. Barack Obama and y'all got production companies. Y'all should definitely support him. But we'll never get to see what he could have been. I would have loved to see him in Kang, and I would have loved to see him help resurge the comic book era movies, but it looked like that may have come to an end, and it's very unfortunate. Um, we're gonna move on to the next subject, but definitely everybody shout out to Jonathan Majors, support him and anything that he may do going forward. You wanted to talk about the Tory Lanez information that came out with the bodyguard, I believe. Was it the bodyguard that came out
The
and said,
bodyguard and the slash driver.
okay, the bodyguard and driver came out and said that it was actually the best friend allegedly that fired the weapon at Megan Thee Stallion. Is that correct?
No. So what he puts in the affidavit is that uh that the best friend and Megan Thee Stallion got into a physical altercation allegedly, and then they end up spilling out of the car. He says the same story that was given before about how he picked him up from the Jenner's house, Megan Thee Stallion and the best friend, and Megan Thee Stallion wanted to go back for some shoes, what you
Mhm.
call it. But instead of going to the house, she went to the back where the pool area was, and that's when Tori came out with her, and they got in the car and they was arguing, blah blah blah. And it seemed like the best friend was like kind of defending Megan or whatever case, but he that's why he ended up spilling the secret about the fact that he was intimate with Megan, or what you call it. And then that's when her and the best friend, they started bickering back and forth verbally, and then started fighting physically, spilled out the car. The best friend allegedly went into the car and was the one that grabbed the weapon, and then he grabbed Megan and was pulling her away, and Tori was struggling with the girl with the gun. He said he did not see who shot, which call it shot it, but that's what it was, his recant of what happened in the story. So that happened, and then the bodyguard, her bodyguard, the one that went missing,
Mhm.
he just recently put up a post of a new car or something, and he's playing Tory Lanez in the background. Her ex bodyguard actually.
So that was her bodyguard that you're referring to. That is
Yes. So Megan Thee Stallion's bodyguard started playing, had just recently uploaded a video with Tory Lanez playing in the background.
as if he's supporting Tory.
hmm The one that went
Interesting.
missing, they can't find to do a testimony.
I believe it has some type of footage on that. Let me bring up that information. I'm definitely interested.
Right, and so here they are. She has seen the spark that
Oh,
triggered
I
this
brought up the
fight, where
wrong
she
shit. My
saw
bad,
what
yo.
she thought was a
Yeah.
message from another
Footage,
woman
y'all. I ain't perfect.
on his phone. So she
We'll bit struggle streaming here. Let me get the right video up for y'all. Shout out to
Cancer.
Tory Lanez. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Imani.
Sorry, Bodie. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying shout out to Tory Lanez. Go ahead.
I know Tory Lane has been like she's been getting into a lot of trouble, not just with Megan Thee Stallion, on other incidents, and so this is not my first time hearing about this. I don't know how they became best friends. I don't know why.
Who became best friends?
Megan and Tory Lane.
They wasn't best friends. He was sleeping on her.
Oh,
Yeah, he was
okay.
sleeping with her. Go ahead,
And
honey.
she hooked him up with her best friend.
Right.
And then every time she hooked her best friend up with a celebrity, she would go sleep with the celebrity.
Every time.
Oh.
Every
But
single
why?
time. Because some people feel power when they are able to attract somebody that their friend is able to attract or something like that. They feel like they got the one up on them.
Oh.
That's my opinion. What do you think, honey?
In my eyes, anybody that does it to somebody, that means there's mentally wrong with them. You're saying,
Yeah.
and it's mentally wrong with them, and something's going on with them. And one of the things that was going on with her was that she was allegedly an alcoholic, or she actually made it that her drinking was really bad. So what you call it? She was known to be a very loud and aggressive drunk.
I've heard that as well.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm gonna play the actual video so we could get some information on what Tory Lane's driver said, and then I'll also bring up the video of the bodyguard.
Okay.
All right, what's poppin', everybody? It's your boy Armani. We're back with another video. Get in here. It's time to get into some things, okay? Megan Thee Stallion is speaking out, addressing some of the rumors, addressing the lies, addressing Kelsey, addressing Partisan Fontaine, addressing Tory Lanez. So there's a lot going on. This Megan Thee Stallion case, Tory Lanez case trial keeps on giving. And then also in steps the chat with Partisan Fontaine and Megan Thee Stallion breakup. So it's just been a lot going on. Megan Thee Stallion can't catch a break. Excuse me, in regards to just crazy headlines in regards to herself, right? So recently, Partisan Fontaine went online and pretty much he's doing a press tour. He's doing a press tour talking about, his relationship with Megan Thee Stallion, all right? He's admitted at some point that he cheated on her, but he also says it wasn't that bad. And he also kind of feels as though Megan Thee Stallion, kind of exaggerated things and just kind of made him look bad. And, to the point where people didn't want to work with him, people didn't want to do interviews with him.
I'm gonna quickly comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a lot of people giving Partisan Fontaine a lot of slack, saying, "Oh, Megan never said nothing about him, and he's acting like sassy for speaking his mind." And whether that's true or not, I don't think people should discuss the relationship information on the internet. But it sounds like he's just clapping back. She did make a couple songs pointing him out. Sounds like she tried to blackball him a bit in the industry, and people weren't fucking with him because of her. Do you think it's fair what he said about her going on his little press tour and getting a little bit of clout off that, or do you think it's sassy?
I don't think it's sassy. Ain't no way y'all gonna sit there and tell people that, oh, it's okay for other people to tell their truth and nobody else can't. Get the fuck out of here. You're saying, and the thing is that they like, oh, what you call it? Well, he said he cheated. He was asking, what do you consider cheating? I watched him do an interview. He's in that. You say he texting people? Yeah, I cheated. You're saying, but never what she said. And for me, it's like, I'm not saying I was the best boyfriend, what you call it, but I definitely held her down while she out here made me look stupid. You're saying, and then people keep ignoring the fact that he also said, like, how many times did I catch you texting them niggas? You saying she was that means if he said he considered himself cheating by texting somebody, then she also cheated as well. You're saying, and then the whole fact is that you can't continue throwing these little shots because right now I'm known as your ex. And when you throw these little shots out there, it's always going to end up looking like you're talking about me. So
Right.
therefore, it's going to affect me and how I move and how I do my business. You're saying because not only am I an artist, but I write songs. You're saying for other people. You're saying like I'm a songwriter, and you're affecting my money, and it should be okay. But when you was going through your shit, I was right there, and I was defending you, but you straight looked me in my face and you lied to me, and then now you trying to make me seem like I'm a fucking horrible ass person. You're not saying like we may have broken up, but thank you for something. You're saying like I just think that's another person that is a whack individual. I'm sorry.
And it's sad because I believe she had a lot of talent and a lot of potential, and she may be hitting some of those markers. But I think if she just stayed a real person and true to who people thought she was in the beginning, that she would have maybe been further along than she is, and not have to do some of these antics to get where she's at. My opinion.
People didn't want to be associated with them because you coming against Megan Thee Stallion while off the heels of the Tory Lanez case, her being a black woman, her being shot, and you were supposed to be a man and her protector. How were you cheating on her in the same bed that she laid in? Megan Thee Stallion put that in the record. Social media dragged Partisan Fontaine, and so now he made a diss record pretty much saying, girl, you got lipo, you drag your friends, you're not loyal to nobody, you're a drunk, all of these different things. And now he's on a press run and talking about the situation. So let you listen to kind of what he is saying. Hold on.
Yeah.
Mind you, the song is not even on his album. The song they talking about is not even on his album.
So how have people been able to hear that song? It's just a released single?
He's a released single. It's not even on his album at all. But every time he goes in for an interview that people are now trying to interview on, they're also asking about the cheating thing.
And I understand. It says Partisan on breakup with Megan Thee Stallion says the love changed after Megan lied to him. It did damage.
Because you still love that young lady.
That was my next question. Because on your project, it sounds like on the person, it sounds like you still love her.
You do. You definitely love her.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm a person that believes love doesn't go away. It changes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've always, and that's another thing I've stated. Like, yo, I always want well for her. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a person that wants bad for her. I'm not out here calling her all types of such and such. I've never even discussed some of the things on that song with my closest friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when the song came, people was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I never ever once ever talk bad about her to anyone, not even, you know what I mean? Like, I do wish her the best.
You're still holding it well right now.
What'd you do at the ring? Because you said that you picked out a ring from Greg.
First of all,
salute to Greg. That's our guy.
He didn't say he bought it. He just said he picked it out. We don't know if he actually got the ring.
Did you buy it? Hold on. Did you buy it or did you pick it up?
The money has been allotted for something different now.
But you said she lied to you about something. What did she lie about? What you was talking about earlier? Because when you buy a ring and you're about to propose, right? So you found out she lied about something, and that made you change your mind.
It sounds like talking about this actually is hurting him. Not that people are going to give a fuck, but it does sound like he's actually emotional about it, and that he's telling the truth.
Like everybody knows that everybody always talked about Partisan being a cool, nice dude. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what narrative people are trying to spin here with him, but ain't no way you should be. Ain't no way you're gonna support one person doing something and discussing what happened in a relationship, and then a person that you talking about, you can't control somebody else's reaction. So and then when they react in a similar fashion that you did, why are they the only person that's wrong?
Right. Like, why is he going for the text messages? Oh, my bad, Monty. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm sorry. I don't know
need to be sorry.
No, I think he's just, because he's being interviewed right now, so I believe, to me, it seems like he's putting his best face forward. To me, it seems like that way. I don't think he's really telling it the whole truth on this interview that he just did, or whatever this is, your interview. So I don't know. I'm a little iffy on this one, on him.
What makes you believe that? And I'm not saying he is telling the whole truth. I don't know, but what makes you believe that he may not be telling the whole truth?
It's just I can tell because the way he's like speaking, he's stuttering. He stops. He pauses. He's stuttering. Then he changes the way he speaks, and it's like he's not being truthfully honest. It's like I don't know. It's just something about him.
I read that differently. I feel like I hear him stopping himself from saying anything too negative about her, because they're asking direct questions. You're saying about her, and he's not going too much into like her portion of the deal, and he's saying like, "Yo, the stuff I said in the song, I never said to nobody," and they're still asking pointed questions. He's like, "I just will show up." You're saying like, I'm hearing it different than how you hear it in mine.
What I'm getting from him, and not too far off of what you're saying, honey, what I'm getting from him is that he might be a bit embarrassed. These are some things that he might not want to admit actually happened to him, may not be used to being in this position where like he's like, oh, my girl cheated. I went out here and bought an engagement ring that was expensive. It looked stupid because she was out here cheating. It kind of seems like as Charlamagne is pushing the questions, he's actually uncomfortable because maybe it's because he doesn't want to make her look bad. But I think that a lot of it is because he doesn't want to admit like, he seemed like, damn, Charlamagne, you know, I bought the ring or was looking for the ring. I know I kind of said that, but I didn't expect that to really be brought up and me to have to answer that. That's kind of what I got from that. He seemed uncomfortable.
I felt like it made me definitely have to second guess where we was at, you know what I mean, at that time. Like it did damage, you know what I'm saying? Like internal, I don't know if it made us break apart, but it was just like it definitely took a blow to me.
So what happened? Why did y'all break up?
Yeah.
I mean, because he's never.
Okay. So, you know, there's a lot more to this interview he gets into. You guys just have to check it out on The Breakfast Club. But in a nutshell, you know, it feels like he still very much so has feelings for Megan Thee Stallion. However, he felt like, child, I need to be able to speak. There's no way for me to speak. I guess he has an album out. I didn't know that. So he's promoting his album. But obviously, when you go to these platforms, they're going to want some tea. So this is his time to speak his piece in regards to the situation with him and Meg and how everything kind of panned out. Now, Megan Thee Stallion, she responded to this interview and him speaking about it. So let's get into what Megan Thee Stallion had to say. Let me see if I can pull it up really quickly, because I think it's important to see what she said in regards to the situation with him. So let's see if I have it. Here it goes, right here. Boom. Megan Thee Stallion responds.
Like,
damn, she loud.
I don't know what that means, and I don't want to keep this long because I know people are gonna chop this up the way they want to chop it up and twist my words and make me something else. But I just feel like I'm Megan Thee Stallion and I just want to be Megan Thee Stallion. I just want to drop my music. I just want to talk to the hotties. I just want to shake my ass. I want to have as much fun with this shit as I used to. But it seems like every time I take a step forward to heal and do something different, motherfuckers be like, no, come back. Get your ass back to this negativity. Come back this way. You're not supposed to be smiling right now. You're not supposed to still be getting deals. You're not supposed to be in movies. You're not supposed to be recording albums. You're supposed to be sad where you was with me 2-3 years ago. When I got in a relationship, all that shit was deleted. I was sat the fuck down. I was sat, I was seated. I was very much happy where I was at. If this man is saying, I didn't cheat on her, I didn't do that, well, why the fuck is you responding to me? Do you know how many niggas y'all claim I done fucked with? Why are you answering? Why are you trying to make that shoe fit? Was it you getting your dick sucked in the same spot I was sleeping? If you say it wasn't you, why the hell is you dissing me? Like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you talking to me? If you say I wasn't talking to you, I wasn't talking to you. Like, you just wanted to fucking find a reason to bash me. It seems very strategic. Like, it feels like it's bothering people so bad. Like,
So here's my thing with these two. I personally think that they still care for each other. I think it's a situation that went left. There was a lot of trauma. I feel like the Tory Lane situation brought a lot of resentment and a lot of drama in their relationship. Megan wasn't in the right headspace. Partisan probably couldn't handle it. So I think it was a case of wrong time. Wrong timing, honestly.
Yeah,
I
Paul,
kind of feel like I want them to get back together.
No, we're not going to do that. That's what we're not going to do. We're not going to keep excusing certain behavior because the person has a vagina. We're not going to keep doing that. You're saying she fucking sat in that man's face and lied. She lied. He in the song he says it. Amani, I don't know if you know what he's talking about. So, Amani, Megan Thee Stallion was in a relationship with that man when the case was happening with her and Tory Lanez. At the trial, there was Tory Lanez said the same story that the driver that I explained before said, that he ended up messing with Megan Thee Stallion. She told her boyfriend, the guy that you said that you just don't trust him, she told him that she never slept with Tory Lanez. And then later on, you said, huh?
I said she also said it on the interview on live TV. She never slept.
Yeah, I was gonna get there, right? Then in the courtroom, they also start listing other men that she supposedly slept with. You saying? She gets on the interview. She has an interview with Gail, Oprah's best friend.
Yes.
And Gail asks her, did she sleep with him? And she was like, she with a straight face said no. And then when they called her into court and she took the stand, she had to admit to all the people that she slept with, that she straight looked in people's face and lied to. You saying? Then I think Parson is like leaving the clue of, if I'm not mistaken, like when she slept with the producer Juju on that beat, supposedly. You were saying? I think that was during or close to their relationship. You were saying? And he also asked her about him, and she told him no. And when he sees these same people, he's saying hello to them, he's dapping them up, he's having conversations with them because he trusted his girlfriend to tell him the truth that whether or not she slept with these people, and she lied.
Mm-hmm.
So after she lied, he clearly says, I started moving differently after I realized that she lied. It felt different because this is the person I trusted, the person I wanted to marry, all these things, and you look me dead in my face and you lie, and you swore on your mother that never happened, and you lied. So I don't understand like how everybody's making it seem like he's anywhere in the wrong. You're saying they already explained, this dude himself just explained in the beginning of the freaking video that Parson was losing deals because people were already assuming whoever she was talking about was him.
Right.
Right.
So he was already getting blackballed, already getting messed up, money getting fucked up because she wanted to go out there and make sure she could play victim once again with this album, which is what he says in the song. You're saying? Like, come on now. So for them to say like, oh, she was in the right headspace. So no. You're saying if you didn't go and sleep with the dudes that you hook your best friend up with, that would never end up in this situation.
Some people like to be the centerpiece of drama. And a good point that you brought up, honey, was that without her even having to say in her music that it was him, he was already being blackballed and losing deals and losing money. But on her own response to the video, she like, well, if I didn't say your name and you saying it wasn't you, then what does it matter? We already explained why it matters, because he's losing money. He's losing credibility. He's losing deals. He's trying to be blackballed from the industry because of you foreshadowing or implying that it was him that was getting his dick sucked in your bed.
And then when you saw online that they was talking about it, if it wasn't him, you should have at that time addressed that, hey, I was not talking about him. I need to stop assuming. You could have did that, but you didn't, because that was also helping. I also helped bring attention to your same song. But then you mad at him for making a song that's not on his album, and dropping that shit, and that being the thing that pushes his own albums, his own interviews. So you can make money off the narrative that you push it, but he can't make the narrative. Like, come on now, make it sense. You know what I'm saying? Nah. Mm-mm.
Let me ask you a question, honey, because I actually haven't heard the song myself. Does he actually say Megan Thee Stallion's name in the song, or do people just know because of the situation?
Yeah, he says her name. He said, "This is not for Megan Thee Stallion. This is for Megan the person," and the song is called "The Person," with her the same way she spells her the T with the H and the double E. He talks about it. He's saying he mentions it, like he mentions her friends, the ones that she was cool with, that she fell out with, that no longer talk to her either. You know what I'm saying? He talks about how the fact that she's supposed to be healing, but this is the fact that you're sharing. I was the realest nigga with you. You say I held you down with everything, and you looked me in my eyes and you lied, and then you went on TV, you lied to Gayle King. He says that, and he's like, he was like, how many times have I caught you texting them niggas? He talks about what you call it, the same nigga that you tag for the beat. You let that nigga tag, let him beat. Let me give him dabs when we meet. You know what I'm saying? After she slept with this producer and let him go ahead and be dapping and chatting up with the dude, she can't even give him that bit of grace. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the shoe was on the other foot and a girl wilded out because she found out that she was surrounded by a bunch of women that supposedly they got slept with, and that came out and leaked to the public would destroy that man. Like, oh, you not supposed to let her walk in there blind. Da, 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 da. It would have been a different story. So I need the narrative to be the same on both sides.
Yeah, all this city girl praise is just ridiculous. Like, oh, whatever city girls do is praise, and they praise whatever the city boys do too. But it's just not as much. Like the men that agree with that type of stuff when it happens on the reverse side just aren't as loud. And you see just a lot of even women that don't claim to be city girls, like women that are traditional women, are even some of them are supporting this behavior. Just anything that a girl does is okay, and this shit is not okay. Like, really not the relationship part so much to me, but I'm really focusing on the scenario here where, like you said, it's not fair for her to be able to benefit off the narrative and be able to blackball him. But when he's trying to get some redemption and make a couple dollars now, he should shut the fuck up or is sassy. I think that's unfair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I feel like the love is there. I feel like they need to let some frustration out. Maybe after some time, they will grow. I can tell from his energy, he's still very got to do this. You did said that he didn't sleep with a woman in her bed. I don't know what who's right or who's wrong, but something happened. But I also feel like he probably did do some cheating because she was lying about the niggas that she was messing with. And he asked her, was she sleeping with Tory Lanez and the baby and all of these things before the trial had happened.
I hear that, but you can't always jump to that narrative. Because we wouldn't automatically jump, and I don't want to compare men and women too much. It's not that type of podcast. But as far as like, if it was a dude cheating on a girl all this times and all that, we wouldn't necessarily say she was cheating back. It might be an assumption she might have got her lick back, but he's just saying he probably cheated because she lied to him. That's not fair. There's no evidence of him cheating whatsoever, except for her kind of alluding to it in the song. But he said
he said it. He said Parson said it. He cheated.
Oh, but all right, so that may be true, but that's not what he's saying. That's not what he's going off of. He didn't say, oh, he said it himself. He like, oh, I think he cheated because she said this. Like, that's not. If you're going to say that, you need to have evidence.
I'll say allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, or you think. I would say just I think. He's like, he probably cheated.
And she said no, and he found out that too was a lie. So there's just a lot of resentment, a lot of mistrust, and a lot of hurt there. But there's revealed that as I saw information, but it was revealed that on line 14, he says, I saw
you gotta go back
Miss
a little bit,
Harris with a guy. But in a new written affidavit, I'm not going to read the full thing, but shout out to Milagro Grams over at Mob Radio for getting this information. But it was revealed that on line 14, he says, I saw Miss Harris with a guy in her hand. Miss Peterson ran from the back, from behind Miss Pete and myself towards Miss Harris, Mr. Peterson, and Miss Harrison began struggling as Mr. Peterson, that's Tory Lanez, tried to unarm Miss Harris. I was still pulling Miss Pete and did not see who shot the weapon. Luckily I was not harmed, and in my opinion, Miss Pete was also fortunate. The whole incident happened so quickly within just a couple of minutes. Okay, so he is alleging that.
Can I point out one thing? People were going with the narrative, and I don't know how true this is because I don't know how it connects, but people were going with the narrative that Megan Thee Stallion, without the shoes, she stepped on glass, and that's where her wounds came from, and maybe that no shots were fired. But now that everybody kind of agrees that shots were fired, and most people kind of agree that she was shot probably, or maybe one of the bullets skid off the concrete and hit her in the foot or something along those lines. So what do you think those lies come into play as far as going against Tory Lanez, if they were lies at all?
What lies?
Well, like those inconsistencies, like where people were saying the wounds actually came from glass, maybe that no gunshots were actually fired at all.
No, I personally think I always thought that shots were fired.
Okay.
But I never thought that she was actually like shot in her foot. You know what I'm saying? I still am in the mind frame of, honestly speaking, this is my opinion once again. I know people are gonna crucify me because I know that we all the women that we have vaginas, so that means that we all supposed to support the same people regardless if 2 + 2 don't equal 4 equal fish. You know what I'm saying? Like, so definitely understand that, but it's not my way. You saying? For me personally, whenever somebody told me a story, it needs to make sense for me to I want to know. You say in an ongoing investigation, why would the hospital throw away the bullet shards?
Yeah, right.
You're saying, she also said that he had the weapon and he was, letting it go at her feet and he was yelling, "Dance, bitch, dance." No one else has came forward and said he said that. You know what I'm saying? There's been multiple people talking about how allegedly how drunk she was. You were saying that night how she was belligerent. You were saying like all these things is going on because she was drunk. When she told her own story, her story switched a couple of times about where she was at, what she had to do. Then I also remember when one of the newspapers they came out with the article and they was talking about how the EMTs when they took the police officer said that one person was taken to the hospital with glass inflicted wounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the EMTs also, if I'm not mistaken, also said that it was glass. You saying? I'm pretty sure, even EMTs would know the difference between a bullet and glass. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy to me. I also felt like the timeline of it was really crazy to me for someone who was, hitting both feet. A week or so later, you stomping around in water. You're saying, and in the Cardi B video for WAP, it was just too many things that didn't make any sense to me.
Right.
Right.
I personally felt like what I got from it is because I've seen this happen to people in real life where I think that she was really upset with him at that time. You know what I'm saying? And she's also young as well, so you kind of act out in the emotion that you feeling at that time, in that moment of anger she got on mom. So you did this and you did that to me, and later on realized she couldn't take that back. You're saying because you already put that out there, people's already recorded you, sent it around, blah 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 blah. You're saying, and now they had to scramble up and get pieces back together, like make sure the bodyguard's not there, make sure the bullet shards were thrown away at the hospital. You were saying it was just so many things that didn't make any sense because, like I said, I don't. A lot of times, even if it's a verdict, if the verdict don't make sense to me, and I'm not going to agree with it just because the verdict went, because our justice is not blind, our jurors are not professionals. and that's just pretty much how I looked at it. But unless it was bullet shards, or unless it was or glass, I don't. I'm sorry. Everybody can get mad. They're gonna get mad at me regardless. But
You know what's
the
gonna
story
happen.
didn't make sense. I get it. You're saying I definitely get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying?
We're not a smoke channel, y'all, but we're not afraid of it either.
You're saying like I definitely get it, but I stand by my
That's right.
convictions. That's thing when things don't make sense to me, I just can't get on board with it. And I'm sorry. Like it has to make sense. You have to prove to me that this is right. That this 1, 2 plus 1 plus 2. You say it makes sense. Quick math. You say out here.
Quick maths. So the narrative kind of in this show, and we don't like again. What it seems to be is there's like no protection for men in these situations when it comes to the law. We got Jonathan Majors losing his job, and I'm going to play the bodyguard video in just a second, but we got Jonathan Majors losing his job when it's like no evidence that he actually hurt this woman at all. And he was fired by Disney, which was obvious that they were waiting on the verdict to see if they could back him or not. And then you've got this scenario right here with Tory Lanez, where the case, if anything, should have been a mistrial, should have been thrown out, and a new trial should have had to been started with different evidence. But so many inconsistencies in the story, so many admittance of false information being testified on the stand, off the stand regarding the trial. She shouldn't even be able to talk about the trial on live television. Her lawyers should have been telling her not to say anything of that because it will be used against her in the court of law, and it will be used against the jury, who probably most of them have known about the court case and seen Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or whatever, and knew about it and shouldn't even probably been on the jury.
And I don't know. I think they need to look into his lawyer that represented. I think they need to look into his accounts as well too, because his counsel that he gave to Corey, it just wasn't enough, baby. I don't think he even tried hard enough, honestly speaking. So you better look and see if he got paid off as well too. I'm sorry, allegedly, because it's just crazy to me. You say it's crazy to me how that trial just went and how like based off a phone call where he said, I'm sorry this happened. Where she asked, she okay? Because he said he's sorry. He never said he could be saying sorry that he put her in that predicament, in that situation. You say you could never know how she broke down on him later on. Like, why would you do that? So he did it.
He probably said sorry for admitting to the friend that he had slept with Megan, which started the altercation to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So he may have felt responsible in that regard, but that doesn't make him legally responsible.
So like some verdicts don't make sense, and y'all already know. I mean, he's saying like, y'all people from the Caucasus Mountains, you saying like, y'all definitely upset about the OJ verdict. So that means that y'all also believe that not all verdicts are the right verdicts. We all know that. You're saying like, and I personally feel in the Tory Lanez thing, that verdict was wrong. I'm not saying that. I know about the other charges, about supposedly having the weapon, and he already was a 2-time felon. I get all that. But a lot of that case is mainly based off of whether or not he, harmed Megan Thee Stallion. You're saying that's a lot of that case was based off of. You're saying, and that's the issue here. Jonathan Majors. I know that verdict was wrong. I don't care what nobody says. That verdict was all the way wrong. Like, nah, I'm not with it. I'm raising a son. I'm raising a whole son. That means the way we're going right now with no protection for men at all. The way we're going, somebody's daughter can just accuse my son of anything. You're saying, and everybody will believe it just because she a girl and he's a boy. You're saying, and like it's too many things that I gotta worry about protecting my son against. I gotta protect my son against the regular ins and out of peer pressure. Then I gotta protect my son because he's a black boy in America who's not gonna be a small kid. You're saying who's gonna have weight and height on him, and so I also gotta worry about what's gonna happen with police officers or anybody that's in place of authority power tripping over my child. Then I also gotta protect my son against other people's daughters, you know what I'm saying, or put himself in a predicament where he can be accused of anything. And it's like, bro, when are we gonna fight for the men? When are we gonna say? Because like you can't fix the past by doing the same shit in Uno reverse.
Go ahead, Amani. It sounds like you had something to say. Go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking on how CJ is right, but I'm thinking like how do we change that? How do we change the narratives? How do we do that?
By
That
putting laws in place that which go like you can't like if it because me and Brody spoke about this before. So it's really hard because once you start putting like a sentence on somebody who was like, what you call it, I feel like if they come forward years later and they confess, maybe something to be different. But during the trial, they found out during trial that this was all a scheme and that the person made it up. They should be faced with the same amount of years that dude would have been facing if he was found guilty of the lie that you just perpetrated. You saying? I know people who have lost loved ones off of rumors that somebody said that they did something to them. They couldn't take it, that they took their own, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, why is that okay? You say when a girl goes through depression and anxiety and all things, they have all the reasons why they doing that. When a young boy who has to deal with a new boost in testosterone and rage and anger and having and being in an urban place where there's no space for them to run around or do anything, either it's because it's a small apartment or there's so many kids in one school. They have nowhere to place that, and let alone if they have any other childhood traumas. But we don't talk about men's mental health. You know what I'm saying? And then the route of mental health is going right now is already turning into a big business. So after a while, even if they do get mental health from them, it's going to still be a ploy for something else.
Right.
It's like it's not
yeah.
fair what's going on with our boys. It's not, and I refuse to hear and just be quiet and allow people to think that just because somebody puts an allegation up forward what you call it, they should just be believed without a doubt. Because guess what? Back in the day, the men was believed without without a drop of proof or whatever. Even if it was blatant in their face that this is what the person did, the men would still believe the woman was still what you call it because they chose not to hear the other person's side. Why are we doing that now today? Why are we doing that now today? Why do we just automatically just believe an accuser? Because right now it's just like whoever gets to the phone first is the one that's right. The one that's the factual. Like, nah.
It's not right.
No, it's not.
I believe, have the video where it looks like Megan Thee Stallion's former bodyguard is throwing shade at her. I hope this video is the correct one. Appreciate everybody that's in the building. Shout out to y'all for rocking with us for the last
Shout
hour
out to
and a
y'all.
half.
Y'all super dope and amazing. And nobody
And
didn't tell me that today.
y'all the only use out here. It was like a 1 in 100 billion chance or trillion chance of y'all existing and you here. So we appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all like the video, subscribe, share. We appreciate any support that y'all give us as we trying to grow faster than light as I play this video for y'all.
Don't be stealing my lines, Brody, because you can get beat up.
We a team, I thought. Damn.
Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. All right, you guys, let's talk about the rapper Doechii shading Lotto on Instagram Live. Ciao, this is a mess. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, the rapper Doechii was online Friday too, and this is what she had to say. Is whoever she was talking about Bailey dreads, and Chloe corrected her by saying it's literally telling Lotto a play on words, and people were talking about, oh, I don't want to be a little shade. All right, you guys, now let's talk about Nicki Minaj breaking yet again more and more records. So to earn 50 top 10 hits on Billboard. So congratulations to get 35,000 Barbs to get 35,000 I think in sales. Nicki might just surge her way back to the top of the albums chart and land at number 2. So congrats to Nicki and keep up the good work. So the final topic, you guys, is none other than Megan Thee Stallion's ex-bodyguard Justin playing Tory Lanez on his Instagram story. You guys know Megan Thee Stallion came out recently to address the whole Tory Lanez situation, and people are still not here for it. But out of nowhere, her ex-bodyguard star Justin decided to go ahead and post Tory Lanez music on his Instagram story, the scat song with the baby, and people feel like this was nothing but shade to Megan Thee Stallion. You guys remember when Justin was supposed to be out here testifying, he was actually unable to be located. He actually accused Megan Thee Stallion and her team of sending people to his parents' home to threaten them. And that's where everything pretty much fell out. It was nasty, it was ugly, and we did not hear from Justin until we saw him again in Dubai with another artist. So I don't know, you guys, how do you feel about this shade? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a big thumbs up,
I wish
and
they
we'll
could have
talk
played the
soon.
song part,
Bye.
but we probably would have got copyright strike for that. But that just confirms what Honey
In the
says.
scat, what's up, Beck? Where have you been? All right, y'all can go to my Instagram page. It's on there. I have this, I have a whole video.
Oh, you got a video about it on there? Shout out to Honey. And
Not a video. I was just, lip singing. That's my thing. He was saying, and you singing, and I was out here with the orange.
Bet. Yeah. What do you think that means? And it's crazy. I never heard that she had sent people to his parents' home to harass him, as well as why do you think he didn't testify on her behalf? It seems like he agreed to testify at one point and didn't. And I thought that was some type of criminal charge if you agreed to testify and don't show. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know about it. He was never subpoenaed to what you call it. I don't understand, and I don't understand why the defense didn't subpoena the bodyguard.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I'm saying it don't make like the way that went. It don't make sense. Like his lawyer didn't do, in my eyes, what he was supposed to do on behalf of his client. Like it just felt like this was just all like just a setup. It's just weird to me, but he knows what happened, and he also knows that sometimes it'll be the smallest things can cause a large explosion. Got people second guessing everything that happened because it's too fishy. Once again, you supposed to testify, you missing, then you come out of nowhere and you playing a Tory Lanez song. He knew. He knew.
So why come out now and kind of fake say something now? Clout? Why you need the clout? You're a bodyguard. You don't really need clout.
Yeah. I think it would kind of go back to what he supposedly allegedly said about her allegedly sending people to his parents' house to threaten. You're saying maybe allegedly they wanted him to have a certain story when he did go, and he disappeared for that time until he felt like the threat was no longer there, because I know that she's no longer. Wasn't it the whole thing that's supposed to be that she's no longer managed by Rockefeller anymore?
That's a good question. I know that her catalog was sold from 300 records to somebody else, and she made a big bag off of that. So I'm not sure if she's still represented by Roc Nation or not. I remember it being a rumor, but I'm not sure if it's true.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not. Cause no, I remember she came on there. She was like, how she came on her live talking about how she's gonna be paying for all her stuff out of pocket, blah blah blah, and she's independent and whatever case it is. But yeah, they were supposedly saying that she wasn't managed or some crap. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. And if you remember, I don't know if y'all remember during the whole ups and downs of it, a lot of celebrities unfollowed her.
Unfollowed her, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Do you think they unfollowed her because they had some inside scoop on what happened? Because celebrities know celebrities, or do you think it was more on a factor of just her lying about sleeping with different artists and stuff like that?
I have no idea, but I definitely think it might be a combination of both. You know what I'm saying? Because and mind you, because they didn't call up the people they thought that they might, like even the lawyers, like they might call up, one of the Jenner family because they was there, they saw what happened. You saying the dude didn't subpoena nobody? I just don't get it. Yeah, I don't understand. Is it like I thought that was allowed. I think you're allowed to subpoena people when you want them to testify.
That's what I thought, that if they didn't show up and they agreed to testify, especially in a state case, where it's not like just civil and you gotta volunteer, but after you volunteer in a state case, I thought you were actually like protected witness and you had to fulfill your duty to be a witness and a credible witness at that.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I do know
thought
that
you were.
I know that I forgot. Man.
I'm sorry. I just thought that once you became a witness of the court, that it's okay, Dory. Yeah, I know. That you had to fulfill that obligation. I'm not sure about that. Y'all correct us if we're wrong about that in the comments. If anybody, a paralegal, lawyer, or knows any better, let us know that if you
I
are
hope next summer
mhm.
a mosquito bites you in the nuts, because that was rude. But go ahead.
Like 5 minutes later, now I'm getting bitten in the nuts by a mosquito.
Oh
5 minutes later,
God.
though, like
I
the
was trying to let
lady,
you finish. I was trying to let you finish, but you were still going. So I was like, nah, I gotta get it out.
and now I've
Before I
lost my
forget.
place in that book. But I will say that let us know in the comments. Yeah, she
Dory.
happy about it. Now I'm Dory. Let us know in the comments if you're allowed to back out on trial if you're a witness to a state or federal case. But yeah, I definitely don't think that they had enough to convict. It should have been a mistrial if anything, and it's even more disheartening because they turned down his appeal. So he did
Yeah, he
already.
filed another one. He filed another
Yeah.
appeal, and then he also filed a reduction of the sentence based off of the testimony from the driver and some other factors, supposedly.
What do you? And we will never know what really happened because it's always two sides to every story, and there's a third, and that's the truth. And we're always going to miss that truth. But based off of the testimonies of both parties, of the protected witness, which was the former best friend of Megan the Stallion, what do you think happened that night? Based on all the stories that we've heard, based on the story of the best friend, Tory Delane. So you think that the best friend actually was responsible and they were like tussling over the gun? Do you think Megan Thee Stallion was actually shot at all, or do you think she stepped in glass?
I think she either stepped on glass or like bullet shards. I don't think that bullets flew through her feet.
It didn't look like that from the pictures, I'll be honest.
Yeah. No.
It looked like she was shot. Well, it looked like the wounds were on both heels, right? It was both of her feet, if I'm not mistaken. So for both supposedly bullet wounds to be in the same kind of general area on both feet just kind of seems wrong to me and then only to be in your feet would be like, how do you get shot in both feet? I don't care if somebody telling you to dance or not. One would be in the foot, the ankle, maybe the other leg, maybe two in the same foot, maybe one skipped all the way up to your armpit. Like two bullets in similar areas in the feet. Either he's a sniper or that just seemed weird to me. And then how do you shoot somebody in the bottom of the foot aiming at their feet unless they're kind of dancing or something like that? Because your heels is on the floor, and it looks like the bullet wound, if it was that, was underneath. It looked like the bullet wound was underneath her foot, as if her foot was in the air.
Yeah, like
Right?
somebody was pulling her away, like the bodyguard said.
How's she
And it's
able
like
to wear shoes?
high heels.
she was wearing high heels, and she had a whole choreographed dance stomping around in water, like a week or two afterwards. You're saying, like, so that was one thing that's very concerning to that. It was like, I don't know. But my thing is like this. So according to the police report, right, from what I remember, they had said that the police officers had pulled their car over because they matched the description of a vehicle that was involved in an altercation and where I guess the shots was fired. You saying? Can I say that? Yeah. So where everything, things was fired, right? So that's why I didn't think that that it wasn't fired. You saying? I never thought it wasn't because they said that's where the cop car stopped them. I just didn't believe that he do the feats. You saying? What you call it? Because and especially when the testimony was that allegedly he said dance dance bitch dance. You saying while he was out there busting off, right? So this man said dance be dance and you know bust at you and you get in a car with them and then drive off.
Right.
You saying because they only got stopped because the car matched the description. So it was like that's another thing I question. I'm like, why would she get in the car with them? You saying even I understand that the bodyguard was pulling her away, blah blah. You saying, but it's like unless I don't. For me, if in my opinion, if that was happening to me, which call it, and I was caught in a situation, I'm not getting. You're not taking me to a second location. You say
You just
you
shot
say
me?
that like I don't care. I'm gonna stay right here to the to the pep come. You're saying like I'm not gonna get into a vehicle with you if that's what happened. You're saying, and she mentioned like, oh, her and Kelsey, they fell out because she said, Kelsey said allegedly, oh, you never told people that I didn't, what you call when they was all speculating that I did. And she was like, well, why aren't you not talking up for yourself? Because I know who did that to me, and they in jail right now for 10 years. Supposedly. That's what she said in her live. So it's like, ain't no way I can see myself or any of my friends getting harmed in such a way and be like, okay, I'm just going to jump in the car with them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Take me to
Even
the
if
second
y'all was
location.
beefing at the time and she might have did something that she wasn't supposed to do out of nowhere, like y'all got back in the car after he shot your best friend. That don't make no sense to me. Also, where the fuck was they going after you got shot? Like, where was they headed to? Were they headed to the hospital because you've been shot? So were they? What was you just gonna go home and just sleep it off? Did they just be like, you know what, we don't want the cops involved. We ain't going to the hospital. We just gonna drop everybody off home and forget this whole thing happened with you supposedly having 2 bullet holes in your feet. I don't understand the plan there. Like, it's not like they was like, oh, we was on the way to the hospital because it was an accident when they got pulled over. Nobody knows really where they were going. It seemed like they was dropping niggas off.
Oh, no, don't come for me. Don't come to my. Oh, it's not feet. It's feet. You know what I'm saying? And it's also foots. Yep, big facts.
Feet and foots, absolutely. I don't know who just came for you in the comments. Who did that?
Who? I don't know. I can't see no comments. I'm saying I'm letting them know off rip. Don't come for me.
You
know
can't
what I'm
see the
saying?
comments?
Like I can't see no comments.
Well, that's crazy. I can see
Yes.
the comments. You gotta click on
Oh yeah, let me
comments.
bring it to you a second.
You gotta click on comments.
Oh, I see it. I see.
You see the comments, right?
Yes.
Click on comments. Where that at?
Yeah, it should be a little box that say comments somewhere.
Up at the top.
Next to banners. Yeah.
Next to chat.
That's how you see the comments and shit. We still learning, y'all. We still learning. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be clicking that because I can't see myself. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Wow, that's mad conceited. But anyway,
It's not. Not.
But yeah, man, I don't think that Tory Lanez should have been convicted for that. I think that they need to do another trial and come with better evidence if they want him to go to jail for these crimes. Because nothing that I saw means that he shot this woman. The gunshot residue on him was inconclusive. While being on Kelsey, it was confirmed that she did have GSR on her. Again, I don't know where they were headed to, so it makes no sense to me for these gunshots that happened and then them be trying to get away. It doesn't even seem like they were speeding anywhere, even though the helicopter and all that had beamed down on them and all that. It didn't seem like they was like, yo, let's get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? It just seemed like they was kind of driving regular. I don't know if that was a tactic to kind of not draw attention to themselves or if that was more of a, you know, what they're saying happened didn't happen. Like, we didn't even think that we'd be arrested except for the fact that there's a gun in the car.
Yeah.
Amanda, you got any thoughts on that? What do you think about Tory Lanez's situation? Do you think that he did it? Do you think that he didn't? And what do you think about what the bodyguard had to say?
I don't think they did. I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't add up for me. Like, should you have some consequences or something? Something should have been done. I mean, what? I mean, I don't know. It's like I don't understand it. It's like it's it's very weird. Very weird. You just can't put into words. It's just like I don't know.
I think it's sad.
Even that, remember that like we talked about before that football player was in that lady apartment all of 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then they locked him up because they said that he allegedly raped her. When if he raped her that fast and they both walked back downstairs together and then, that was a incredible tact by him to be able to do something like that fast, and then also get her to come downstairs and walk you out of the building. I think that was disgusting as well. And even though he was vindicated eventually, I believe he was released from prison on those charges. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it just is crazy that something so light, and it doesn't even have to be the person saying that you did it. It could be people around you saying that it was the case.
Y'all lucky I don't got my notes. Because if I had my notes, I will blow your mind out the water right now. Because I remember I was supposed to make a video about that. Because they try to act like some of them cases have not been false. You saying you got to really scroll through Google to really find like all the names of certain things and certain causes with certain communities. You saying? And I remember one case where it was like these two mentally challenged brothers. They went to jail. The girl pointed both of them out. You were saying they was in jail for years, and turned out it definitely was not that. You're saying it's a lot of things that happen, and they don't talk about it. You're saying, and like we said, even with statistics, you saying because everybody love to bring that stuff up. But you got to remember, like there's a lot of reason why boys don't come forward with things about what happened to them. You're saying because if it was a girl or older woman, they're society kind of looks at it like, oh, those guys are lucky. I would never said nothing. No, I was a child. I was a whole child. You're saying, and if it's a guy, if they come forward, they have to worry about the risk of people questioning their sexuality, blah 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 blah. And mind you, that's on both sides of the spectrum. That's if they're quote unquote straight, you're saying they're dealing with a woman, which call it. There's a question of is he gay? Because you know which call he's gonna. You say, is it possible that he might do that to other kids? And if he's with if he is, gay, they'll go, oh, he's only gay because this and this happened. You're saying like it's like a double whammy all across the board when it comes to statistics about little boys coming forward about what happened to them. You're saying we only talk about which call it, and then you're saying like, and then they say, oh, there's not really that many, false allegations. You're saying, how would you know that? You're saying, how would you know that? Especially when we also know that you're saying this is actual science and psychology behind it. That a lot of times with people in those type of situations, not a lot of times, but there's been more than a few of those times where they have replaced a person that actually did them face with a stranger, replaced their face with a family member. You're saying all these things that has happened, and sometimes those cases just slip through the mud. You're saying right through the gate, and nobody talks about it. It's not discussed. You say so. We have to really start being mindful for both sides. You're saying being as supportive as possible when these is happening to women. Make sure they have nowhere to go. Make sure there's mental health there to help them out. Continue on them on a journey of self healing discovery. You're saying while also making sure we push, taking some accountability to your safety and your health. You see, when you're dealing in some of those DV situations, that you need to understand that you need to come forward immediately when it happens, not wait years later and want to talk about it, because we're leaving too much of a gap and too much of a gray area where we don't want to say we don't believe somebody because it's been bad years, but then they don't have no proof. You say that it happened, but we still supposed to believe it. It's just too shaky there. We have to make sure like we understand why you might want to have to wait so long. But we also want to stress to you how important it is to come forward. We don't do that anymore. I'll come forward, it's your time. But when it's their time and they coming forward, but only for the money's sake, with nothing else behind it, no proof, no verdict, nothing at all, it makes it look like we're not being very fair to our young boys that's gonna grow up being men. You saying?
Go ahead, Money.
Okay, I just took a breath. Wow. No, I was just gonna say yeah, and also that the cycle just continues. It's going to keep continuing unless we break the cycle.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely want to protect our men. Like I said, we're not going to focus too much on gender, but We're already doing some of the things to protect our women. And like Honey said, what we need to do is further even educate them and let them know what they need to do in those circumstances so they feel 100% comfortable when those things happen, so we can nip them in the bud as they happen and have a more factual understanding of what actually happened instead of someone that wasn't guilty being accused.
Yeah.
But we appreciate y'all for coming in. It's 10:32. We had a hell of a show today. Appreciate for everybody for being in the building. We're about to sign out. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and comment. Go ahead, everybody. Ladies, outro yourselves.
Okay, I just want to remind you guys that we are on Rumble on Tuesdays, YouTube on Wednesdays, and Instagram on Thursdays. Definitely come through and pop through and come say hi to us on Instagram because we be out here. You know what I'm saying? Then on Saturdays, if you have the app called POF, which is Plenty of Fish, you know, the fellas also have Out Here Podcast After Dark. You know what I'm saying? When we get to be a little more loose, a little more flowy, you know what I'm saying, out here. Brody also has a segment on Rumble as well. Black Male Media, Slippery Slopes out here. They get to talk, you know, with all their manly voices, you know what I'm saying, sit in weird positions and shit.
I can't fuck with Honey.
My Chanel,
It's true, though.
you gonna be, you know, holding on and holding down. Our TikTok out here, I be floaty everywhere. So try to just catch me, whatever. I don't know. I be tired out here. And I also fell in Dollar Tree. And now niggas acting like I can't sue because I sprained my knee. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here walking with a cane and shit. And you're like, well,
wow.
I don't know if you could do that because your knee is just sprained. I'm like, sir, not only did I sprain my knee, but I also have fibromyalgia. So that means when I try to catch myself, I pretty much feel like I got hit by a car. I'm not gonna hold you. My neck, my back, my hips, and then my other leg for putting the weight on it. You know what I'm saying? So I be tired, but I be trying. You know what I'm saying? So I be on POF, I be on TikTok. You can start following me on Kick and Bigo and Live Me. Goddess Honey Coco. Look that up. It's gonna be me out here. Yeah. And once again, this Goddess Honey Coco B, and the B stands for beige because I'm never light skinned. And Brody can get beat up out here.
Facts. And this Brody the One, aka Black Male Media, the pro antagonist, part of the Out Here podcast out here. Amani underneath us, our number one supporter. Basically, our 6 hosts
and
out
support
here.
my Amani out here because she definitely has.
Books.
She definitely out here moving and shaking. She got the jewelry. She got the book coming out. She out there moving, making big moves. So make sure I support my Amani out here. You know what I'm saying? Facebook and Instagram because y'all can get beat up too out here.
Amani, make sure you drop your IG in the comments so everybody can follow you.
Thug out here. I kick toes. I kick toes, flick foreheads, and bite chins out here. Big facts.
She didn't bite nobody's chin. She's 6 feet. She
First of all, I can bite chins. See what I'm saying? Don't chuck out for me.
We love y'all. We're gonna see y'all on the next stream.
Bye.
Deuces, boosters, Caluses.